Hi everyone, my name is Tasha and I just wanted to share with you my IC story where I've been, like how everything led up to it, how I dealt with it, and some of the things that have really helped me. I'll go over that like more at the end. But basically what happened is I had a lot of stress in my life, a lot of chronic stress, stuff with friendships, relationships, and basically around that time too, I'd gone to Mexico and come back, which can kind of mess with your gut flora, and then afterwards I was getting a lot of infections. So I got an infection in May, so I got a UTI and was treated with antibiotics. A few weeks later in June, I got a sinus infection and was given more antibiotics. And at this time I didn't really know about how to boost my immune system properly. I was working a lot. I was in a condensed course at university and I wasn't really listening to what my body needed and taking the time to take care of myself. And then in July I got a yeast infection, which was like the worst yeast infection I've ever gotten. It was terrible. And then after that, I started the next month in August, I started to get, more seasonal allergies, and my stomach, seemed a bit off. It was rumbling a lot, and I went to my doctor and she thought I had celiac disease, but the test came back negative for that. And then in September, I started my course work again for kinesiology, and I was taking 4 courses in the lab, so a lot of stress again, and I was really trying to power through and finish my degree instead of taking more time for myself like I really needed to. And I just felt so bad. Like, this is when stuff really started to go downhill, and this was 2014. So basically that month of September, that first week of school, I was having, a lot of trouble, feeling like sleeping well, for one thing. So I was having like nightmares, 3 nights in a row, and I just wasn't sleeping good at all. I was also, I felt like, at one point I felt like my immune system was so low that I felt like I was gonna get another infection. Like, I just felt so sick, and sure enough, I got like what felt like a yeast infection, a sinus infection, and a UTI all at the same time. But this time when I went to the doctor and got checked for UTI, there wasn't a lot of bacteria in the culture, but they gave me more antibiotics, so I think that's like 3 rounds, or maybe I had like 4 rounds over the summer, something like that. And then after I was done that course of antibiotics, I still kind of was having UTI-like symptoms, and I went back and told them what was going on, and they did another urine culture, and there's no bacteria in the culture. So I was like, what the heck? And I was searching on the internet, like, what's wrong with me, and I kept on seeing IC come up, and I had no idea what that was at all, and no idea what I was about to get into with my health and everything. So it was a pretty scary time, and a lot of other things got really bad. Like, I was missing a lot of school, again, sleep wasn't great, my body wasn't feeling good. I started getting really bad muscle spasms, and I'm not just talking like the bladder spasms that some people get with IC. I'm talking like all over my body. Like, when it first started, I think I had my glute muscles, so your butt muscles, that was spasming all night long. I think I woke up in the middle of the night because it was spasming so hard, and it literally like felt like the next day I had like a really intense workout or something, and it hurt to walk up the stairs and stuff. And then I also started to get tingling in my extremities, like ice pick headaches. And then the typical I see symptoms, frequency, pain peeing, bladder pressure, and then like pain in my urethra, which is a terrible, terrible feeling. And some of my other symptoms were like lower back pain and other stuff like that. So basically just a whole, bombarding your system. And I was, anxious, and I was depressed because, you're not feeling good, and you're like, what's wrong with me? And I kept on going to the doctor, and I was getting really frustrated, and I had made a list. I made a food diary, and I made a list of all my symptoms. I made a list of all the medications I had been on, like printed it out from the pharmacy, brought them to my doctor, and I'm like, look, something, there's a bigger picture going on here, like what's happening to me. And basically she told me one appointment, one symptom, and she just was prescribing me more medication per symptom, essentially. So I told her, I think at the time I wanted to deal with the muscle spasms and the abdominal pain. I asked her for something for the pain because it was so bad, my pelvic pain, and she just told me to take Tylenol. And I was like, dude, like, I can't take Tylenol for the rest of my life. It's not, that's not gonna even touch it, and that's kind of shitty to do anyways. And for the muscle spasms, she wanted to give me a muscle relaxer. And at that point, I just got, I just got to this point where I'm like, I'm not putting more shit into my body that's not working for me, because I've used all these pharmaceuticals in the past, and they've wound me up, getting me way more sick than if I had learned proper ways of taking care of myself, And so yeah, I don't know, it was really crappy, and I didn't feel like I was being heard. And it really got to a point where one night I was feeling so terrible, I couldn't even study, and my mom was really scared, and I just broke down crying, and like I felt like absolute crap. So then that's when we called a naturopath. And sure enough, I called the following day, and I got in for the afternoon. So I went in and told her about everything that was going on with me, and I figured out more and more, even as I've gone along in this journey, how much the emotional stuff that was happening earlier on contributed to my health problems, because I wasn't dealing with the emotional part of it properly. And then also just obviously the bombarding of your system with antibiotics is just completely poisonous. I was kind of a party girl before too, so definitely, a lot of nights out drinking and partying, and once in a while you go to McDonald's. And I was always interested in health, and I thought I ate pretty healthy and ate, fast food from time to time, but I didn't think I ate that badly. I really learned a lot since then though. Anyway, so I went to my naturopath, and this naturopath, she really saved me, because she was able to give me a diagnosis, and she just diagnosed me based on symptoms. And I'm really glad that she did, because there's other things that you can do to give you the diagnosis of IC, but I don't know, for me, it just didn't seem like it was really necessary to do that. Some people, they want to, and that's great, and that's your choice, but for me, I felt like those, when I learned about them later, I felt like those procedures are a little bit invasive, especially when your body is so sensitive and shocked as it was. So she gave me a supplement treatment, which I won't really go into, because in hindsight, I think some of this have helped me a bit, but I was taking a lot of stuff, and I don't think my body could really get the proper benefit of it, because it wasn't healthy and open to those things. My energy channels weren't open, which I'll get into more later and explain that. But we did do acupuncture, and that was so critical for me, I think, to get my pain to a level that was manageable, and it made me feel more relaxed. Again, with acupuncture, it opens up certain energy channels in your body. So in traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about energy meridians. So there's different points on your body, and each of them correlates with different meridians. I believe there's 12 in your body. And if things aren't flowing properly or there's an energy block, then that can cause physical symptoms as well. And, you know, you can look at this energy as an emotional block as well. So if you have something like fear, that's, you know, associated with the kidneys, which is, you know, associated a lot with people with IC. And if that's blocked and you're like afraid all the time, which I feel like a lot of people are, and I definitely was in the beginning of my journey, then it can, you know, it can hinder energy flowing properly through there in order to allow your body to heal. Anyway, so I did the acupuncture and that really helped, and then I started to meditate every single day. So I meditated for every day for about 20 minutes. I think at one point I did it for 40 minutes every day, so 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, because I felt really stressed out and I really needed to just, you know, allow my body to relax, because I was just, you know, praying. I'd pray at night to the universe, like, please heal me, you know, let me find a way to heal myself. But again, acupuncture was really critical for me. Meditation, and then I started yoga right away. So this is going into now 2015, and I started up doing yoga, and this like absolutely saved me, helped me to open my mind, helped me to start healing my mind, body, and spirit, because we are mind, body, and spirit. And you know, yoga definitely did that for me. I started off with a lot of hot yin, so it's slower, it doesn't require you to, you know, do a lot of fast movements, and I know for people who are really sick with IC, maybe you can't even do that initially, but really gentle yoga was helpful to kind of open up and relax my body a lot more, and then I was able to move into flow classes and Ashtanga and other stuff like that. So I started, you know, doing all of that, and then I really started to get into doing a lot of research. So I was taking another 3 courses in the lab, still continuing with my kinesiology degree at university, but now taking a step back. I was going to take more courses in the winter, but I just was like, you know, can't do it, too stressful. And I, you know, did a lot of late night searching, a lot of times feeling really, you know, hopeless. Like I didn't find anyone out there that, yeah, that was healing themselves. And I think a really critical thing though is my searches were like, how can you cure IC? And when I posted it as a question like that, obviously I got a bunch of like conventional medicine articles that are like, no, you can't heal IC. And what I ended up doing is as I was meditating and stuff like that, I was like, I need to switch how I'm viewing this, how I'm even asking to see something. So that's what I did, is I changed it to curing IC or healed IC. And I came across a lot of people who have healed through raw vegan diets. And, you know, then I also found Catherine Simone's book, and, you know, I never felt like really ordering it, but then eventually I did buy her DVD. And basically when I did do that, I found that I was reading a lot of stuff that I already had like confirmed for myself, or like was already had a hunch about that were contributing to my disease, or this disease for people. So I had like IBS too, which I didn't mention earlier as much. That was when my doctor thought I had celiac disease. I had a lot of abdominal pain, but I also had constipation, and then when I did go, it would be like diarrhea or something. It wasn't really that great. And very painful. So I thought I had got like a parasite from going to Mexico or something before I got sick. And so what I ended up doing was asking my naturopath to do a stool test to check for that. But the thing with stool tests are that even if you're doing them to check for parasites, it might not show up that you have any, and it would be a false negative. So there's that. But what my stool test ended up showing was that I had Candida. So Candida is, a yeast in your gut. Everyone has Candida, but I had too much of it. And so that was probably what was stopping me from going properly during the day and having regular bowel movements and stuff like that. And when I wasn't regular, or like when I did go, it would like hurt my bladder more when I was going. So I knew that they're like connected somehow. So what ended up happening then is, I'd watched Catherine Simone's DVD, and this was like in April, and I decided around then of going vegetarian because I wanted to add more fruits and vegetables to my diet. And I'd watched a lot of documentaries like Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, where he healed his autoimmune disease. It wasn't IC, but it was still inspiring to see. I watched documentaries like Hungry for Change, Food Matters, Forks Over Knives. Lots of these documentaries that showed that a plant-based diet was really key to having good health, and just seeing testimonials of people reversing their diseases through that. So, I went vegetarian, found out in May that I had Candida, and in May I gave myself a little challenge, and I committed myself to a 30-day raw vegan diet, 100% raw vegan, and I started off with a 3-day juice cleanse, which went really well. And I kind of wish I did it longer, actually, but that's okay. But 2 weeks into my 100% raw vegan diet, that was the first time I had like no pain and no like bladder presence, as I call it. Anyone with IC will know exactly what that's like. And it just like, I was dancing, I was on top of the world, I was like, fuck yes. It was just amazing. And then the following week I found out about the Candida and started a Candida protocol with herbs and stuff to support my liver and digestive enzymes and stuff, which would go on for 2 months. And yeah, so I ended my raw vegan diet, felt really good, had so much energy, would go to yoga for an hour a day, would go to the gym for an hour after that, and still had energy to do stuff after. So I was like, knowing that it felt really good for my body, but I didn't feel encouraged by my naturopath at the time. So that's not exactly like her fault or anything. It's just that I feel like maybe if she had been like, well, maybe you should try to continue that more or something like that, considering I had done so well and I had never had that no pain before. I was still learning to really listen to myself, and that's another thing I've really learned on this journey is trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, and knowing that you're doing the right thing for yourself, even if because no one else can tell you how you feel about something or how your body's feeling at that exact moment. Because I ended up doing this Candida detox with this protocol that she had mapped out for me. And I had done that all, and, I was feeling so crappy by the end of it. I was having really heavy detox symptoms and, like, different pains that I hadn't had. Everything, all my symptoms were aggravated more. I was getting, like, weird aches and pains in my joints and like numbness in the back of my thighs and stuff like that. It was kind of scary. And I also went off the pill, and it really made my skin really bad during this time, and it kind of still is. I'm still kind of working on that. You can't really tell in this video because I'm wearing makeup and it's camera, so you can't really tell the quality. Anyways, but, you know, in hindsight, I think that what I would have rather done is, you know, just done raw vegan. And also, right before I went raw vegan, I did do a herb cocktail cleanse, so it was a colon cleanse, and that really helped to help clean things out beforehand and get things moving, get my bowel movements a little bit more regular. So if I was to go back again, I would just do that in the raw vegan and maybe a few weeks of the Candida protocol, but I wouldn't have done it for 2 months like I did because it was just ridiculously hard on me. And so I continued like the anti-Candida diet, you know, no sugar, no yeast, and I stayed mostly vegan throughout the summer because I just felt like that's what my body, I don't know, I just felt like it was right after watching all the videos that I had on Netflix about how good a plant-based diet was. And so then the Candida protocol ended, and then I was working on gut healing. And at this point, I kind of, you know, I was doing this for a while and my skin was just getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm sure a part of that was like hormone imbalance or maybe more detoxing or something like that. But basically I had like both like cystic acne, or I do have both cystic acne, dermatitis, and like oily skin. So, you know, it was a really big hit to my ego, and there was times it was just really painful. Like it really, you know, I'd get really like horrible ones on my forehead that were just painful and sticking out. And like, I am a server too, so, and a yoga instructor, so you're kind of, you know, in front of people and people are looking to you, and you know, you're like, do I look okay? And like, you don't have time to go check your makeup or, you know, make sure, you know, sometimes makeup doesn't really do anything when shit's sticking out of your head like that, like acne. You know, it's really a big hit to your ego and stuff. So then, you know, I wasn't feeling like I was getting direction on diet from my naturopath, and I tried out, I was like, maybe I'll try a paleo diet. So I tried that for a month and added meat back into my diet, and I had like the worst flare ever. It was super painful, and I could just, my body could just tell this acidity from the meat because meat is really acidic. It was just not right at all. So, you know, I quickly ditched that diet. I tried it out, I thought it might help my skin because I heard a lot of testimonials online of it being good for hormone balancing and stuff like that. And it just wasn't. And that's when I found Brittany. Brittany Auerbach is a naturopath, and she has had IC herself, and she's fully healed from it. So I had a Skype session with her and was able to talk to her about, you know, everything that's gone on, what diet I should be on, and essentially I'm back on to a high raw vegan diet, and I've been doing so for about 2 months now. And I can tell you, it like just feels right. Like I know that it's healing me. I haven't really had, like, I still have my symptoms, but I do feel like they are decreasing, and I haven't had like a flare except for my period a few weeks ago, or maybe like a month ago now. So, but I've been on the diet for like 2 months, and that was the only time, and that it's really been like super aggravated or anything. But was really emotional for my last period, like crying on and off for 3 days, and it wasn't from pain really from my IC. It was just like I would, you know, with this disease there's like a lot of ups and downs, and like your hormones are trying to balance out because I'm trying to heal my adrenals, and you know, it's just craziness. It's just absolute craziness in your body. But another thing that I've been doing is something called NATE. So it's Nambudrapaz, I'm probably saying that name wrong, allergy elimination technique. So I found a chiropractor near me that does the NATE treatments. So basically what they do is they do kinesiology muscle testing of an allergen. So you'll hold the allergen in your hand and you'll put your arm up and he'll like press down on your hand to check if, while you're holding the allergen, to check if you're weak or strong against it. And you think like, it's not going to make a difference. Like, I'm strong, I can totally like resist his pressure, right? But no, like if you're allergic to something or your immune system's weak against something, your hand will go down. So basically he does that, and then you're holding the allergen, you flip over, and then they do a technique down your back to kind of reset the central nervous system, because your central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. So he goes down and, you know, does a certain technique like 6 times, and then you turn over, retest, and then as long as you're strong, then he does acupuncture in like 8 different points. So he'll put it, you know, in, it's called the anatomical snuff box there, your elbow, you know, do that on the other side by your ankle and your foot, top of the foot, and then you do that for 15 minutes, and then you avoid the allergen for 25 hours afterwards, so that it has 2 hours to go through each of your 12 meridians and an extra hour just for good measure. So, you know, when, I'll just say this, with NATE, it does detox your body. So when you're doing this, you know, if you have really severe IC, I would not recommend this right off the bat because it is not easy. But I've done 12 treatments so far, and I will say that I have noticed a difference, especially once we did hormones. That was the most recent one that we did, which we did right after I had my period, right after I had like that really big bout of depression, crying for 3 days and stuff, and it's been like 3.5 weeks since I've done that treatment, maybe less, but I would say that like my mood has been like really stable since. I guess the test will be when I do have my period, and we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Another thing that I haven't mentioned though is that I have been doing other like spiritual work on myself by going to these healers in my city. So I've done Reiki and I've done hypnotherapy. Reiki is energy therapy, so basically they'll like touch different parts like around your head and like your shoulders and stuff like that and try to move energy. And you know, you might think that that's like BS or whatever, and if you don't want to do it, by no means do you have to. But I did find it really helpful, especially I think the 3rd time that I went, I had actual visualizations during it, which, you know, like it's not like I'm under hypnosis or anything. I'm lying on the table with like a little thing over my eyes. There's nice music playing. You know, there's essential oils in the air and lots of crystals around and stuff like that. It's very relaxing. And yeah, and I had some visualizations where I like really let go of some stuff in my past, and the hypnotherapy's been able to do that as well. And I'm going to continue to do more spiritual work because I do feel like for me, I've had a lot of times in my life where I felt lost or I felt just like this emptiness, and I was never able to explain it, and this is before I really got sick, and I think that this is helpful to kind of fill that part of myself that I just didn't know that was lost. Yeah, anyways, so that's kind of like what I've done. I've kind of skipped over some other stuff too, but there's just so much. What I would say that was totally worth it for me and what I wish I'd done earlier, yoga, meditation, acupuncture, and finding a good acupuncturist, because I did go to someone else in the summer and they were super crappy. Like they did not make it a nice and calming experience for me, and I didn't feel any energy changes in my body. Like I can kind of tell because I do meditate and do yoga. After I would do certain acupuncture treatments with my naturopath, I could feel it like in my third eye and the energy moving properly throughout my body. Anyways, so those three: diet, getting rid of processed foods, eating whole foods. I think high raw is the best way to go. Meat is acidic. You know, I'm not saying that I'm like totally vegan. Sometimes I eat seafood, sometimes I eat fish. You know, once in a while I eat chicken or eggs, but not very often at all. Like I would say maybe once or twice a month tops. Because I'm really trying to focus on getting high frequency living foods into my body. Let's see, what else? Nate, I think, is going to be really instrumental in me getting well. I'm only like halfway through, I think, of the treatments. I don't know yet because we haven't tested the other stuff, but I do know that I do notice changes after. I feel my body detoxing, and I feel like my skin is starting to improve after we did the hormones. So I'm excited to see what else happens. Being positive, having a good mantra every single day, waking up grateful. You know, I feel like after we did hormones, I've been in such a better mood, such a better place. You know, and there's so many little small things that you can do for yourself. Go for a massage, you know, do something that makes you feel good. I do aromatherapy, so I have an essential oil diffuser, and it's just literally like water and essential oils, and I can diffuse it in my room, and it makes it really relaxing, especially with lavender. Detox baths, those are really important, I think, for people with IC. Excuse me. Epsom salts, baking soda, and lavender and tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is good for antibacterial, so you don't have to worry about getting an infection. Lavender is really relaxing. Epsom salts have magnesium, so it's good for the muscle spasms, good for your muscles, good for relaxation, and alkalizing. And then the baking soda helps to neutralize acids. So you're pulling when you're sweating in the bath, you're like pulling all these acids out of your body, and it helps to neutralize everything in the water. So that's like, I would do those anywhere from like 2 to 5 times a week. It just kind of depends on what you're feeling like. You know, I remember at first I was doing them all the time, and it felt really good to do that. Another thing you can do is like sound frequency therapy. So you can literally go onto YouTube and look up different frequencies, different relaxation stuff, like DNA repair, stuff to help with inflammation and cystitis, stuff to help with skin repair. Like for me, that's kind of a thing that I've been doing. And it's just like really, really, you know, just do one thing at a time. Like if you can't, if this is like really overwhelming, you're like, oh my god, I can't do this. This is too much for me. Like just do what you can and add little things in here and there, and you know, just do what feels right for you, because not everyone's going to be the same. Not everyone's going to react like the same to stuff. Like what might help me is not going to help you. But I'm really just trying to encourage you to find, you know, what you need in your life to get better, because I've come a long way from where I was, and I'm in a much better mental state, a much better physical state. Another thing is doing lemon water first thing in the morning, and you might be like, oh my god, Tasha, you're crazy. Why would I do lemon? That is absolutely ridiculous. If you're not ready for it, don't do it. But lemon is alkalizing for the body. You can start with like 1/8 of a lemon just to like test it out in water, but it will help to draw out acids from the body and neutralize everything. So Again, lots of fruits and veggies, lemon water first thing in the morning. Basically, I'll let you know what my diet is right now too. First thing in the morning, lemon water again, and I'll have a juice. So I do fresh pressed juice that I make on my own. Beets, celery, cucumber, carrots, leafy greens, and some apples for sweetness, or pears. Then I might have a smoothie later on. I do a probiotic and stuff to support my adrenals every day, which you can just get different herbs for. I eat a huge salad at lunch with my own homemade dressing. I eat maybe a little bit of nuts during the day, or I make my own energy balls with nut butters, oats, and like whatever I want, like cinnamon, cocoa powder if you can handle cocoa, and I'm trying to think what else I put in there, but you know, you can do whatever you want. You can find really good recipes online. I eat fermented foods to help restore the probiotics in my gut. So I have some kimchi, which is spicy, so you guys might not be able to handle it, but you could do sauerkraut, you could do pickled beets, pickled carrots, you know, make your own whatever. And then for dinner, I'll do some other vegan dish, like really easy, like cooked veggies or something else, like, and then in the evening, if I'm still wanting something, usually I'll have some more fruit, or, excuse me again, I'll make banana ice cream, which is incredibly delicious. You just freeze 1 or 2 bananas, you know, put them in the blender, put it in another fruit that you like, or, you know, sometimes I do cocoa powder to make like a chocolate ice cream, a little bit of coconut water, and boom, mix it up, and it's freaking delicious. So these are some of the things that I do. It's been a really long journey, and this is turning out to be a really long video for you guys, but you know, lots has changed, lots that I've done to heal, and I really hope that this video helps you guys out there. I do have a blog which gives a better description of everything I've done, because I have so much that I've done that I've missed things, even in this video. It's really tough to tell everything, but I did go over the most important things for you guys. And I just wish you guys all the best in healing, and I hope that you find some peace, find your way, and I'll keep you guys all updated on my healing journey, because I really feel like I'm going to be able to heal myself, because so many others have, and some of those people are like Melissa Cesaro or Melissa in the Raw on YouTube, my naturopath Brittany Auerbach, whose YouTube is Montreal Healthy Girl, Sunny Morrow, she's on YouTube, Just Juliet, she's on YouTube, my friend Chris Duguay, who's a part of our or the Healing I See Naturally Facebook group, which Melissa Cesaro started, actually. Catherine Simone's healed herself. And the list goes on. There's other people that I've talked to. Crystal Gordon is one of them. And then another girl recently, Wabi Sabi Health. There's her you can look up to. And I think more of us are just coming forward to really, you know, let you guys know out there that there is a way to heal yourself. There is people that have healed, and they've done so naturally. They've done so by healing their gut. They've done so by getting their body more alkaline, by eating real food, you know, by addressing all the issues of mind, body, and spirit. You know, and maybe you only have 1 or 2 to work on. Maybe it's all 3. Like in my case, it definitely is all 3, and I'm going to be doing more spiritual work in this coming new year with theta healing and soul retrieval and stuff like that, which I can talk about in another video if you guys are interested in hearing about that. But I'm going to end this off here because this is long enough, and I hope that you guys look into maybe some of those other people, because they've been inspirations to me and have really helped me get to where I am today. So, peace and love. Good night.